Okay, let's get into this. Today we're looking at something that really taps into a primal human fear.
That feeling of being alone, often late at night, in a place you think you know well.
Right, a quiet place. And suddenly it starts to feel, well, not right, unfamiliar.
Yeah, that deep, unsettling feeling that maybe, just maybe, you're not actually alone.
It's this scenario that just bypasses logic, doesn't it? Hits you right in the gut.
Totally. The vulnerability of being isolated, the fear of something unknown just lurking.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, our source material is firsthand accounts. Real people.
People who went through some genuinely creepy, honestly terrifying things working solo overnight shifts.
These aren't just campfire stories, they're visceral experiences, unexpected terror in places that were meant to be, safe.
So we're going to explore these personal stories. We'll try to pinpoint those moments where things went from just odd to actually terrifying.
And maybe see what insights we can pull from these chilling experiences. About safety, intuition, threats we don't expect.
Okay, let's dive in, see what really happened.
Our first story comes from someone working the graveyard shift. A shipping warehouse.
Oh yeah, picture that.
Yeah.
Huge place, echoing your alone counting inventory. The definition of isolated.
Where every little sound feels like it's amplified, right?
Definitely. And they describe it starting as just a normal night. Manager locks up, they get to work.
But about an hour in, the first kind of crack appears.
They walk past a side access door one truckers use and notice it's cracked open, not latched.
Just a small thing, easy to dismiss at first glance.
Right. They checked outside, didn't see anyone, figured maybe the manager just forgot,
Didn't have the key anyway, so they just pulled it shut, went back to work. No real alarm bells yet.
But it's that first little thing that's out of place.
And then things start feeling off.
While they're working, they see something out of the corner of their eye. Perceived movement.
Where was this?
Down a long hallway. Leads to an unused part of the warehouse. Looked like someone running across the opening.
But when they looked straight at it?
Nothing. Just empty hallway.
Our brains do that, though. Especially when we're tired. Low light. Pattern matching. Easy to rationalize.
And they tried to. Heart rate probably jumped a bit. Shook their head. Figured it was just their mind playing tricks.
Debated checking it out.
Yeah, but decided against it. Wanted to stay focused on work. But that feeling, it kind of lingered.
That little voice saying, maybe it wasn't nothing.
This is where logic bumps up against intuition, isn't it? The rational part says, trick of the light.
But that gut feeling says something's not right here.
So even though they felt unnerved, they did walk down that hallway.
Okay.
It was dark back there. Just shelves, pallets, nothing related to their job.
They looked into the room.
Stood in the doorway of this big, dark room. Listened for a few seconds. Just silence. Nothing. So they left. Went back.
And interestingly, right after that first check, they said they felt this sudden wave of just exhaustion hit them.
Huh. Like a physical drain, maybe stress, or something else.
Could be. Adrenaline crash, maybe. Anyway, they tried to keep working, finish the aisle.
But then, less than 5 minutes later, another visual thing.
Ang's butt.
Same hallway, yeah. Again, just in their peripheral vision. Looked like a figure sort of leaning out from behind the corner, watching them.
Wow. Okay, seeing something twice, even indirectly, that's much harder to brush off.
Absolutely. It goes from maybe random to feeling like a pattern. Deliberate.
So what did they do this time?
Dropped everything. Immediately. Hurried back down that hallway.
Still dark.
Still dark.
Yeah.
Didn't see anything right away. Called out, hello? Not really expecting an answer, but, you have to.
Break the silence. Yeah.
And silence in those moments, it can be just as loud, can't it? I mean, it makes you feel more alone, but also maybe someone is there, just being quiet.
Chilling. Did they go into the room?
Walked further into the dark room itself this time. Silence was thick, just their own footsteps echoing. And standing there, they felt it really strongly. This incredibly disturbing, unsettling feeling of being watched.
Ugh. But couldn't see anything.
Nothing, which just made the feeling worse, more terrifying.
That feeling of being watched when you can't see the source, that's deeply primal, bypasses all the rational stuff.
Straight to survival mode. So they hurried back out, glanced back one last time at just blackness.
Yeah.
Felt chills.
Okay, so they're heading back to work again.
Started walking away, and then thud.
A sound.
A sudden, extremely loud metallic thud rang through the whole warehouse, like something heavy hit the metal shelves.
Okay, that's not the building settling. That's undeniable.
No mistaking that. It's a distinct, active sound. Someone caused it?
And was that it?
Not quite. A few seconds of silence, then another sound. Quieter this time, like repeated tapping against metal.
Tapping.
Yeah. And the person felt, in that moment, it was deliberate. Like whoever was back there was trying to get their attention.
Trying to lure them back into the dark room.
That was the feeling.
Yeah.
The shift from maybe visuals to definite physical sounds. It confirms someone's there and hints at intent.
So at this point, they knew for sure someone was in there.
Absolute certainty. And just completely horrified. They ran.
Not towards the sound, I hope.
No, the other way. Towards the back door, out in the parking lot. Got a safe distance away and called for help.
Smart move. Get out first.
Critical decision. Survival instinct kicking in.
And did the police find anything?
Incredibly, yes. They found someone hiding behind one of the big shelves in that dark room.
Who was it?
A man, maybe in his 40s, described as really disheveled, creepy looking.
Wow. And the security footage.
That added another really chilling layer. This wasn't just random. He'd been seen walking around the outside of the building multiple times over the last week, checking doors.
Casing the place, waiting, knowing someone worked alone inside.
Seems like it. The person who experienced it said the guy seemed, quote, pretty unhinged and crazy.
Did they ever figure out why he was there? What he wanted?
Never really figured out a clear motive. What was he trying to do once he was inside, knowing someone was there?
But that feeling that he was trying to lure them back into the dark.
That's what stuck with him. Still makes him deeply uneasy thinking about it.
That's the terrifying part, isn't it? The lack of a clear reason. Was it robbery? Something worse? Just messing with them?
The uncertainty, combined with the fact that he planned it, watched the place. It's profoundly disturbing. It doesn't just violate the space, it shatters that feeling of safety.
Absolutely. Okay, that leads us to our second story. Also, a solo overnight shift, but totally different setting. A laundromat.
Yeah, this person was working part-time, college job, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Their parents own this 204th 7 laundromat.
Described as old, maybe a bit creepy.
Surprisingly creepy, yeah. On the edge of town, usually alone after midnight.
Okay, so midnight comes, last customers leave, just them and the machines humming.
And then someone walks in, but not a typical customer.
How so?
He didn't have any clothes with him, no laundry bag, nothing. Wearing a thick hoodie, hood up, hands stuffed in his pockets.
Right away, that's odd for a laundromat. No laundry, face hidden, flags go up.
Especially late at night, alone. The person working said hello. The man didn't respond.
Just silent.
Silent. Just slowly walked through the aisles, looking around very deliberately, then turned around and left.
Didn't get in a car or anything.
Nope. Just crossed the street and disappeared out of sight on foot.
That silent observation is weird. Showing up, looking around, not engaging, then just vanishing.
Yeah, the person felt really weird about it. Knew it wasn't normal laundromat behavior. Being alone made it feel much worse.
Tried to rationalize it.
A little, maybe looking for something lost. But, you'd ask. Right, he didn't.
So they went back to cleaning, but feeling unsettled.
Definitely unsettled. About 20 minutes passed, they're cleaning, happened to look up towards the front entrance. Same man, standing right outside the glass door, just watching them.
Watching them. Oh, that's creepy.
He was wearing all black, so hard to see against the darkness outside.
Did he stay there?
As soon as the person inside noticed him and recognized him, he started walking away again.
So he didn't want them to know he was watching.
Seems like it. Okay, now they're seriously creeped out. Called it eerie.
I bet. Did they call anyone?
Debated calling their dad, the owner. But they were new to the overnight shift, wanted to show they could handle things, be reliable.
Ah, that internal conflict. Prove yourself versus trusting your gut feeling of danger.
Exactly. So they decided against calling, but stayed on high alert. Just stared out the front windows for the next hour.
Anything happen?
Nothing. No more sightings, no other customers. So after an hour of staring out the window, they started to relax a bit, let their guard down, maybe looked at their phone.
And
heard it. Short creak sounds from the back of the building.
Inside. Oh no.
Yeah. The threat just moved from outside watching to potentially inside with them.
What did they do?
Moved quietly towards the back, listened closely, heard shuffling sounds, like someone moving things around in one of the back rooms.
Okay, proof. Someone's definitely inside.
Undeniable. Not just presence, but activity. Where they were supposed to be totally alone.
Time to get out. Fast.
Immediately realized they needed to leave. Turned, moved quietly towards the front door. Plan was simple. Slip out, call the cops from outside.
Makes sense.
They pushed on the door handle, and it was stuck. Wouldn't open.
What? The main door stuck.
Stuck, solid. Primary escape route blocked. That feeling must have been instant terror. Trapped.
How? Did they see why?
Looked frantically through the glass door. Saw something wrapped around the handles on the outside.
Oh my God, the guy.
It clicked.
Yeah.
When he was standing outside watching earlier, he must have done something to the handles, secured it from the outside.
That shows planning. Malicious intent. Blocking the exit isn't random. He wanted them trapped inside.
Exactly. Their whole body just filled with panic. Alone. Trapped. Intruder in the back. Only one other way out. A back door.
So they had to go towards the danger to escape.
Had to go towards the back room area where they heard the sounds. Started stepping quietly that way, still hearing careful movement inside.
Like the intruder was being stealthy too.
Yeah. Maybe didn't want a confrontation yet. We're just searching. When they got to the doorway of the back room, they saw him.
Face to face.
His back was turned. He was searching through some boxes on the floor. That was their chance.
So?
They sprinted for the back exit door. The man turned, saw them running, but they reached the door first.
Please tell me it opened.
For a second, their heart sank again. There was some kind of makeshift rope tied around the handle. Looked like he tried to tie it shut from the inside after he got in.
He tried to block both exits. The front from outside, the back from inside.
That was the attempt. Unbelievable.
But they got out.
Fortunately, whatever he did with the rope wasn't strong enough, or maybe not finished. They were able to force the door open and run out.
What did the man do?
Came out after them, but saw they'd escaped and just ran off in the other direction. Didn't chase.
His goal seemed to be trapping and searching, not pursuit once he was discovered.
Seems that way. Police came, searched, but didn't find him. No real leads.
And the person who lived through it
Realized the clear intent was to trap them inside, stealthily. The horror of how close they came. If that backdoor rope had held.
It's terrifying to think about.
Left a lasting awareness. They shared the story saying they now never just assume someone is harmless when working alone. Understood how easily it could have gone so wrong.
Wow. That story really highlights how vulnerable access points can be and how familiar places can become traps. Trusting your gut is so crucial.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our third story. Very different setting again. A suburban office building.
Right. Seems safer maybe, more corporate, but still has that core element. Alone, late at night, place usually full of people.
Exactly. This person was a data entry clerk. 5th floor, top floor, large office building. Their company sometimes had people work late, and they were often the last one.
So everyone else leaves around 6 p.m.
Yeah. About 30 minutes later, the main building lights go off. Automatic power saving. Just leaves dim emergency lights.
Creates a whole different atmosphere, I bet.
Totally. Quiet, dim. They'd worked for about 3 hours like this, focused on the screen, assuming they were alone, maybe in the whole building.
Until.
About 3 hours in, deep in work, they heard something. From below them. Muffled. But sounded like a door opening or closing on a lower floor. Easy to dismiss.
Paused, listened, heard nothing else, dismissed it. Building settling, maybe someone else finishing up late, though they thought everyone was gone. The usual rationalizations.
Our brains really want the mundane explanation first.
Seems like it. Okay, fast forward maybe 30, 45 minutes. They get up for coffee.
And notice something.
On the way to the break room, yeah. Something immediately felt wrong. The door to a specific hallway was open.
What hallway was it?
Led only to a utility closet and a rarely used staircase. And this door, they said, was always kept closed, never left open.
Okay, that's a definite anomaly. An interior door that's always shut is now open in an empty building. Something's wrong.
Big red flag. Curiosity, maybe overriding the unease for a second. They poke their head out, look down the dim hallway.
See anything? The staircase door and the utility closet door at the end were both closed. But just standing there, looking down that dim hall, they felt a distinct chill. A real wave of unease.
Tried to explain it away.
Initially, yeah. Attributed to the creepy lighting in the hallway itself. The atmosphere.
Trying to find an external reason for that internal feeling.
Right. Checked the staircase door quickly. Saw nothing. Went back into their main office area and deliberately pulled that hallway door closed behind them.
Trying to seal it off mentally too, maybe.
Maybe. Tried to refocus on work, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Every couple of minutes, that unnerving sensation of being watched.
Just a constant feeling.
A sustained feeling. Even though they just checked, see nothing. It points strongly to a hidden presence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with the open door clue.
Yeah, it really does. Was it hard to work?
They said the feeling was so strong it made it really hard to focus. This went on for about 30 minutes. this constant, pervasive unease, while they were looking at their computer screen. The dim overhead lights in their specific office area suddenly shut off.
Whoa. Okay, that's not random. That's deliberate. Someone flipped a switch.
Exactly. The critical turning point. No more ambiguity.
What was it like?
Everything went pitch black. Instantly. Except for the glow of their computer monitor.
Terrifying.
They immediately looked towards where the light switches were, about to get up. But then froze.
Why?
In the sudden dead silence after the lights went out, they heard it. Soft, slow footsteps.
Where were they coming from?
From the direction of the light switches.
The switches that were just used to turn off the lights? Oh no.
Sound becomes everything in total darkness. Hearing slow, deliberate steps coming towards you right after the lights go out leaves no doubt. Hostile intent.
Someone had been watching, turned off the lights, and was now approaching.
Footsteps walking closer. And closer, out of the darkness, just passing the edge of the monitor light.
What did they do?
Froze. Just pure fear paralysis for a few seconds, that fight or flight freeze.
Understand?
Then the adrenaline just surged. They ran.
Which way?
Didn't look back, didn't hesitate. Straight for that hallway door. The one leading to the rarely used staircase.
Good choice. An escape route.
Made it through the door, into the staircase, thankfully still had some emergency light there, and just ran. Didn't stop until they were all the way down on the first floor and out of the building.
Pure instinct. Got out. Called 911.
Called 911 from outside, waited. Police came, searched the whole building thoroughly.
Find anyone.
Found no one. But 2 days later, they reviewed the security footage.
Ah, okay. What did it show?
It was old, grainy, black and white, blurry, frustrating. But they could make out something crucial.
What was it?
A person had entered the building way earlier, around 2 p.m. that afternoon, claimed an appointment with another company.
And then?
Footage showed them deliberately going up to that floor and hiding in the utility closet.
Hiding. For hours, until everyone left.
Exactly. Waiting for hours until everyone else, except the worker, was gone. Similar pattern to the warehouse story. Planning, patience.
Chilling. What did the footage show them doing after that?
Show them leaving the closet after the main lights went out, walking around for a bit. Then seemed to notice the worker was still there.
But it was blurry.
Too blurry to tell exactly what they were trying to do next. The person who shared the story is left just wondering. Was he just trying to scare them? Or did he have something much worse planned once they were alone in the dark?
We'll never know, because they escaped before whatever it was could happen.
Right, and the person was never found.
Never found. Wow.
Knowing that, knowing someone stalked them in the dark like that and is still out there, they quit the job.
I don't blame them. Completely understandable. Relieved not to be alone in that building again.
Especially knowing the person was never identified.
Okay, so looking across these 3 stories, the warehouse, the laundromat, the office building, what are the common threads here? What does it all mean?
Well, several key things really stand out, don't they? First, that isolation. Working alone, night shift, quiet or empty place.
Yeah, the setting is crucial, and then the way things escalate. Start subtle, a sound, a weird feeling, an open door, things you might dismiss.
Right, dismissed initially, but then it builds into undeniable proof someone else is there.
And that feeling, that pervasive, really unsettling feeling of being watched, it seems to come up in almost every account, even before solid proof.
It's a huge factor, a powerful internal signal that something's wrong.
Definitely. Then there's the appearance of these suspicious people who just don't belong.
The people who seem to have been waiting or casing the place, sometimes for hours, like the footage showed. It wasn't just impulsive, there was planning.
And critically, in 2 of the stories, active attempts to stop them escaping. Blocking doors, trying to tie them shut.
Yeah, attempts to confine them. What does that tell you about the intent? You don't usually need to trap someone for simple theft in an empty building.
Right. It suggests control, trapping the person inside with them. That feels like it escalates the potential motive beyond just property.
Towards something more personal. Maybe assault, maybe just sheer terror. That seems to be a key insight. The goal wasn't just presence. It was control over the space and the person.
And finally, like we keep saying, that lack of a clear stated motive. The why remains unknown, which somehow makes it even scarier. You can't rationalize it.
Exactly. And thinking about the psychological impact, how does something like this change a person afterwards?
Oh, profoundly. It hits their fundamental sense of safety. Not just at work, but maybe anywhere they feel alone.
That tendency we have to explain away odd things, that probably goes out the window.
Completely. They learn the hard way to trust that gut feeling, that intuition screaming danger, even if they can't see why yet.
And the what-if factor must be huge. Realizing how vulnerable you were, how close you came to something potentially horrific, just by being alone in a familiar place.
It highlights how fragile that feeling of safety really is.
I think these stories resonate so much because they tap into that universal fear. Being alone, vulnerable, and having the place you feel safest suddenly become threatening.
It forces you to confront that possibility, that bad things can happen. Malicious intent exists, even in the most normal, everyday settings.
They're stark reminders, aren't they? That perceived safety isn't guaranteed. And that sometimes that quiet voice inside, that intuition, is yelling a warning you absolutely need to hear.
It really does make you think differently about the spaces you occupy when you're alone. We often feel most secure in familiar places, work, home. But how prepared are any of us, really, for those rare but terrifying moments when that safety just shatters, when there's a hidden unknown threat right there with you?
It's a chilling question to leave people with. What would you actually do in that moment?